Alright, I just mentioned this in my Deadpool and Wolverine review, so I'm going to talk about this disaster of a show called She-Hulk. I watched this a long time ago when it came out, as some of the other series were pretty darn good, right? WandaVision was incredible. Loki was okay. So, being a fan of the MCU, of course I'm going to watch She-Hulk. And I had low expectations, right, from the trailer for the series. I'm like, the effects works on her look crap. They showed a lot of the Hulk, and the Hulk's effects actually look pretty good. This isn't a great still of it, but it's like, it's got the Hulk. The Hulk is going to carry this. The rest of it looks crappy, but it's got the Hulk. And it didn't even really, like, you would never get the impression from any trailer that this is a sitcom. But it is. There's jokes. This one in particular gets a lot of attention because, like a lot of other jokes, it just doesn't land, right? Like, you have characters dancing, and this is like a credit scene in one of the episodes, but it just doesn't really fit the character, and it's not funny. It's like, ha ha ha, it's CGI twerking. Like, I don't see where the comedy is. This series is shockingly devoid of comedy, and then so the moment you watch it, you start to realize, hey, this is a sitcom, but it's not funny. They have situations, but the situations aren't funny situations. There's an entire episode where she goes on Tinder, and it's about her, like, making a Tinder. She takes some pictures. Does she want to be She-Hulk on her Tinder, or just her non-She-Hulk self, which is not hulked out, if you even want to call it that. And it's, like, not interesting at all. It's certainly not funny. And then she eventually, like, is using Tinder. She goes on some Tinder dates, and they don't particularly go well. But again, nothing interesting happens on these dates. Nothing relatable. Is certainly nothing funny. At one point later on in the series, she hooks up with Daredevil. Yep, Daredevil's in this show. So she makes a joke about having slept with Daredevil later on. And that's kind of funny, because she makes a greasy joke. There's one funny joke across an entire series of a sitcom, and that's the only funny thing that happens, the only joke that lands. It's incredible. This show is kind of a masterclass on exactly how not to make a show, how not to do comedy, and how not to do entertainment in general. As, yes, this show has Daredevil. It has Wang from Doctor Strange. It has the Hulk. And it fails to be entertaining for like one moment. It is wild how crappy this show is. So I'll go through the plot a little bit. So our main character here, she is in her 20s, and she's a lawyer. And she randomly, I forget even how, like something with a machine, or like it was like an alien thing, alien spaceship, and she gets Hulk powers. She becomes She-Hulk. So her being in her 20s, and this like lawyer, she's just this like incredibly privileged, one of the most privileged people in the world. Like, she's like a lawyer in New York in her 20s, and like a decent looking woman. It's like it's hard to even conceive of anyone more privileged, right? At least in the Western world. So the Hulk takes her under his wing and kind of shows her how to do some hulking, because now she's the Hulk. She's potentially going to be a target. She's gonna run into some trouble. So maybe it would be useful to kind of like know how to fight. So anyway, so there's like this training montage, and throughout this training montage, you can this image kind of perfectly demonstrates it, right? I mean, look at him. He's like you can just see the unsure look on his face, and just the pure like cockiness. Like, it looks like she's joyful, but in the scene and throughout the series, she is just incredibly cocky, arrogant, just so full of herself. So just complete lack of concern, caution to the wind. So watching this, I expected this to pay off in episode 2, right? I expected all right, first episode, she like becomes a She-Hulk. She gets some training, and then episode 2, she's going to realize very quickly, like, hey, this is actually based off of anger. You can like Hulk out, you just haven't fully hulked out yet. Like, this is incredibly dangerous. You are way too cocky. You are taking this way too not serious enough. You are in way over your head. I thought that would like show itself in episode 2, because why is she so arrogant and such a dickhead in episode 1, right? Because she's there with the Hulk and she's acting like she's a better Hulk than the Hulk, and like better with her powers and everything, and she's absolutely not. She's a million times not. But she literally flat out says to him that she's better at dealing with her anger, and she uses the most ridiculous examples because she's been catcalled in her life. And it's like, are you joking me? Like, the arrogance is so obvious that like it's impossible. It would be impossible for the writers not to have that be like intentionally just arrogant and ridiculous, because the Hulk has gone to different planets to fight universe level threats. He has lost people. He's lost the love of his life to permanent death. To, we tried to bring you back from the dead, from the Thanos snap, and we could not. Like, like this guy has lost people, has fought like his entire life, has accomplished tremendous things. Like, where this person, this privileged 20-year-old lawyer who has never seen any kind of combat, never seen any kind of loss, has never experienced life whatsoever, is one of the most privileged people in the world, just a totally full of herself, arrogant idiot, flat out dumb. This is gonna explode on her. This is going to go bad. You can see it from episode 1. So you would expect episode 2 to conclude with her like hulking out and her being in over her head and her being like, Bruce, like, I need you, right? And then from there she grows and matures. Like, she realizes the error of her ways and progresses and becomes like a real person and like gets humbled. You'd expect. Why wouldn't they do that? That would have made more sense than what they do. They don't do that. She continues in her absolute arrogance and stupidity throughout the entire season. And then in the very last episode, she hulks out. Like, the end of the last episode is her hulking out, her finally losing control. Again, ridiculous for a Hulk story. Like, typically the Hulk, from minute 1, it's complete lack of control. It doesn't make even any sense that she would, like, as a person at any point, ever have more control over this than the Hulk. Like, it's weird. So even the like basic plot, like even past the sitcom aspect of it never being funny, just from like pure entertainment, like, you have the Hulk, you have Daredevil, you have Wang, and you can't make an entertaining like fight scene. You can't make anything entertaining. Like, you have characters like Daredevil, there's multiple seasons of Daredevil. Then he's on like the Defenders, and then we saw him in Spider-Man 3. Like, there's a lot of character already developed and characters that are in your series, right? Like, but none of it. Just like, they don't use any of these characters that they have to any effect whatsoever. This is a genuine masterclass of what not to do, but not even in a fun way, right? Like, I would say the first 2 Twilight movies are masterpieces of failure, unintentional comedy, and just so many things are done so spectacularly wrong in terms of filmmaking and storytelling, but in such a beautiful way. It becomes like this so bad it's good, beautiful mess the Twilight series is. But She-Hulk has none of that like camp, none of that B charm, none of that like wonder. It just comes across as like pure incompetence, not like creative confusion and bizarreness, and like it doesn't have that entertainment to it. This is just the most like corporate, inept garbage freaking imaginable. The characters are unbelievably unrelatable and unhuman. The you're not getting She-Hulk, right? There is a specific lack of Hulk anything, despite what you see on screen in front of you. You know, we've got it, although it gives us the biggest dose of Hulk that like that humanity has gotten in a long time, it completely gives you no Hulk. It is so bizarre. But yeah, so She-Hulk, it is unbelievably trash. Like the Marvels, the film The Marvels sucks terribly. But like there's a tiny bit of charm to the characters. It's ultimately meaningless, but it's okay. What's that show? Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel, it's like, all right, I don't love it. I don't love it at all. It's intended for 13-year-old girls. It's specifically made to not gear towards me. That's fine, I guess. It's weird to do that, because you can make content that's targeted for a specific audience, but also have some mass appeal, and it doesn't really do that in Miss Marvel. But it's nothing near as bad as this. This is like made for nobody. This is disastrous. The effects on her at times, like this scene is the best we get of She-Hulk in terms of what she looks like, which she doesn't look like the actress. But then we also get like she kind of looks like the Grinch here. Like just the effects work is so spotty, and it's so tragic after such a masterpiece, such an awesome show like WandaVision, to get a total stinker like this. It's just really destroyed people's faith in Marvel. I feel like beyond those individual crappy movies of like the Marvels and like Madam Web. I don't even know if Madam Web is like MCU, but I feel like stuff like this, getting an entire series, right? Because if you just the runtime of the entire season of the series is far longer than probably the Marvels and Madam Web put together. And we just get this garbage. Like just this like CGI crap show of a nothing character just sloppily slapped on our screen for no reason. Garbage. Worst. One of the worst shows ever made. Honestly, it is. This is should be entertaining to no one. It's not funny. The plot is garbage. The characters are nothing. I couldn't rate this lower. Just a true 0 out of 10.